Kia ora koutou, ko nongo taha te maunga, ko tiki tapu te roto, ko pune tuku marae, no India aho, ko Vaidya tuku whānau, ko Shwari tuku mama, ko Alankar tuku papa, ko Gargi tuku ingua. No reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. I believe that starting with one's pepeha, saying that I'm affiliated to this mountain, this land or lands, this tribe, whānau, is the best way to introduce myself. Saying my pepeha fills me with a sense of comfort and pride, because there is wisdom within those words. The stories our tupuna walked are embellished in every pepeha. It points to our heritage and weaves into our identities. Moreover, our pepeha sheds light onto one's past, how we came to be, and the interconnectedness we all have as people who call Aotearoa our home. A proverb that marks this is kia mau ki te tokanga nui a noho tuku hoa. There is no place quite like home, my friends. Home doesn't just encompass our physical surroundings. The concept of home goes beyond that to the concept of belonging. But this belonging, I don't feel it no more. The microaggressions, the labeling has got me to the core. Where I tread loosely, people seem to see cracks. Where I try to learn the Eurocentric way, people stand back. Go back to where you came from. You're not one of us, you're one of them. It haunts me every day. I hate to admit it. It's hard. Being an immigrant, no, a child of immigrants, it's not as easy as it looks. I'm not complaining, I'm just stating the unhidden turmoil, the balance between both worlds, the chasm of identity. It's now or never for me to share my snippet of the story. To be an immigrant is to assimilate and blend in. There are expectations to be met, a clear trace of merits and regrets. I face the shadows of a world unknown. At times, I yearn for a place to call my own. I am no puzzle to solve, no stereotype to find, for I, in my own right, am a trailblazer, a riptide. As a second-generation immigrants living in Aotearoa, the road has never been easy. There's been twists and turns, sometimes real plummets, maybe a roller coaster, here and there. But it's made me realize that it does get better from here onwards. I am standing here as testament in hopes that the future of migrants proves to be a better one, that we may live up to the word turange waiwai, a sense of identity and independence, at having a particular home base. Today, I'm here to share my journey, which is akin to many other migrants, some who, unlike me, in simply boarding a flight, have scavenged through war, natural disasters, famine, to make it upon safer shores, to stand strong, kia kaha, kia maya, kia manua nui, in a place of adversity. An immigrant is someone who permanently moves to a foreign country. This can be because of a variety of reasons, generally to do with this newer country having opportunities that are better than their older one. These are the economic immigrants, whereas others may be forced to evacuate because it no longer has conditions worth living in, coining them the term forced immigrants. Now, a second-generation immigrant is a child of immigrant parents who have settled in this country. I still remember the first time I came to Aotearoa when I was only 3 years old. I was so excited, bubbling on the verge of ecstasy, knowing that I would see my dad for the first time in 5 months. I eagerly waited at the Auckland airport, clutching my mum's arm tightly, when I saw a figure wave in our direction. I squealed, picking my Dora the Explorer bag because, come on, Dora the Explorer was and still is my icon. In my actual fact, I was an explorer too, setting out on a voyage to New Zealand. Dora would be proud of me. Upon seeing my dad, I ran and jumped into his arms. I not only embraced him, but little, innocent Dora Stanme didn't realize that I would be embracing a new country along with that. I'm sure we immigrants have heard the classic stories of how our parents came here with only one backpack, struggled, slogged on towards eventually buying their first car, their first house, and turning their lives upside down. Looking at my parents, they truly are the epitome of hard work. As a child of immigrants, I can say that many of us suffer from unwanted immigrant guilt, where we don't want to let our parents down because of all that they have done for us. This may mean being the perfect child, getting the stellar grades, A+ reports. Anything and everything we do is scrutinized within our parents' gaze. It's not just enough to do it for the sake of doing it. We have to be good. We have to leave a legacy. In New Zealand, the reason many immigrant kids do so well at school is because this mindset is indoctrinated within them from a young age, that when they're older, they should pick up a white-collar job or a noble trade. First-generation immigrants were never offered the opportunity to have a career in something like the Bachelor's of Visual Arts or to be an apprentice plumber, because back in their second world country, at their time, it frankly speaking didn't pay the bills. Therefore, they tend to take a more rational as opposed to intuitive approach. First versus second-gen migrants differ on a multitude of levels, because as a second-generation migrant, you're more integrated into the New Zealand way of life. You have assimilated and conformed to meet the dominant cultural needs. Despite this, any immigrant can tell you the dissonance they may feel, the cultural perplexities they must uncover, the loss of native language that might happen. It's hard navigating between two cultures, especially one that might not be as similar to your native one. I'll give you an example. In India, there is a certain word of respect used when talking to an older sister who may only be 1 or 2 years older than you, called Didi. So if your Didi tells you to do something, you do it. Compared to India, the social norms here are much more laid back. Yes, respect is required at work, but not to the same degree required in India. Ever wondered why I have so many aunties? To be an immigrant is to be versatile, or to put it in the words of my mum, Jasa desh, dasa vesh, which can be translated to the English version of, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Earlier on, I was a much different Gargi. I'd completely taken on board the saying by losing my cultural identity and thereby facing the culture imposter syndrome. I was in internal conflict. I felt that I was neither Indian nor a New Zealander. My identity seemed lodged in the middle, not fully one or the other. I found myself feeling like a chameleon. In their case, they changed their color to camouflage. In my case, I would change all the little things about me to fit in. My way of camouflaging. If it means I looked like the crowd, I would do it. However, I was living a half-life doing so, always forcing myself to look different, talk different, essentially be different, just so I could fit in with contemporary society. The microaggressions didn't make it any easier. These are the more subtle forms of racism. When I first came to New Zealand, I only knew 3 words in English. That was mum, dad, and toilet. And trust me, those 3 words have gotten me far. To this day, I like to think I know most words in the English language, but this hasn't come easy. I still have classmates who laugh raucously when I pronounce almond as almond. That's the funniest thing I've heard all day. How do you not know how to say that? Instead of standing up for myself, I would laugh along with them, despite the fact that I was hurt. What they fail to understand is the reason I pronounce it differently is because I've heard almond being pronounced as almond my whole life. My parents, through immense struggle, formulated a life here. They left everything, so there's bound to be those differences. But instead of mocking me for those differences, they should have learned to embrace it. If someone had modestly said, "Oh, Gargi, that's not how you say it, instead it's this," it would have made me feel much more comfortable and not undervalued. This is just one of many microaggressions that I have let slip by. Now, this cultural alienation that I used to feel was massive, but slowly, day by day, I'm beginning to change my mindsets. My whakapapa, my customs, no longer make me feel shamed or disarrayed. I feel content that I come from the land of spice, while still holding up the land of clouds. I'm an Indo-Kiwi, one that has the best of both worlds. I could not be happier to be living in this global age as a 2nd-generation migrant, where I can get everything at a touch of a button, where mass media communication is possible, so that I do not lose touch. Technology is ultimately making it easier for people to come together. It is diversifying our worlds. We can now experience the taonga different cultures have with open eyes and open minds. The future of globalization proves that people will no longer be tied to only one country. There will be a mass diaspora with transnational communities everywhere. I can confidently say that we are making history. It's now or never for us to be having this conversation because more will be coming in this immigrant space. I want to end by saying this. If anything, take this away from my speech. Change is inevitable. Change is coming. Change for good. Kia ora.